Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you today? Okay, I hope you always in a good conditions. In today, we are from 7 group English business. Will explain about preparation for job interview. Okay, before it, I will introduce the member of the groups. The first is Ahsan Taqwin, and then Agustina Damayanti, and the third Feby Vigara, and the last is Mukhayin. This is a table of contents. The first we will talking about definition of interview, and the second purpose of interview, and the next types of interview, and the last is preparation for job interview. Okay, the first material from Agustina Damayanti will explain definition of interview. Okay, times for her.
My name is Agustina, and I would like to presentation about definition of interview. So the simple of interview is to obtain the information from someone. Usually, interview is the formal meeting between two people where the interviewer asks questions to the interviewee. It has a powerful technique to get accurate information. So for me, interview is important when you want to get an employee to get a candidate employee in your company.
Okay, the next presenter is for me. In here, I will explain about purpose of interview. The first purpose is elaborate on your qualification. The interview is an excellent opportunity to further explain your skill and experience, and you can show the hiring manager you are qualified with for the role. Job candidates typically describe their positive attributes while answering questions, and it also a good practice to cite specific example of practicing your abilities. Okay, and the second purpose of interview, you can learn more about the position. Hiring managers discuss detail about the vacant positions during the interview. As a candidate, you might learn about the day-to-day activities of an employee in your desired role, as well as the expectation for the first few. Okay, and the third purpose of interview, you can visit the work environment. For in-person interviews, the recruiter invites the job candidates to the employee's building. A tour of the workspace is often on the interview's agenda, where you can observe how professionals interact with one another and see where you would work if you. Okay, and the next purpose of interview, we can evaluate the culture of the company. The culture of the company includes its values and tradition, communication process. During the interview, you can learn about your potential employer more closely than you could perusing its website or reading the job description. And learning about the work culture can help you decide if you would enjoy working at the company. Okay, and the last purpose of interview, you can showcase your communication style. Yeah, in the interview is a conversation between you and the recruiter, allowing you to share your thoughts and practice active listening. Communication is an important skill because many employers prioritize in their hiring decisions. Okay, the next presenter from Feby Vigara will explain about types of interview. Okay, times is yours.
Okay, next I will explain about the types of interview. There are 11 types of interview. The number 1 is the screening interview. Companies use screening tools to ensure that candidates meet minimum qualification requirements. Computer programs are among the tools used to weed out unqualified candidates. Number 2, the informational interview. On the opposite end of the stress spectrum from a screening or interviews is the informational interview. A meeting that you initiate. The informational interview is under choice by job seekers who might otherwise consider themselves savvy to the merits of the networking. And number 3, the directive style. In this style of interview, the interviewer has a clear agenda that he or she follows unflinchingly. Sometimes companies use this rigid format to ensure parity between interviews. When interviewers ask each candidate the same series of questions, they can more readily compare the result. Number 4, the mentoring style. This interview style, usually used by inexperienced interviewers, relies on your lead discussion. It might begin with a statement like, "Tell me about yourself," which you can use to your advantage. This interview style allows you tactfully to guide the discussion in a way that's the best serve you. Number 5, the stress interview. As running as this is, the Greek hazing system has made its way to professional interviews. Either employees view the stress interview as a legitimate way to determining candidates' aptness for a position, or someone has letomaniacal tendencies. You might be held in the waiting room for an hour before the interviewers greet you. Number 6, the behavioral interview. Many companies increasingly rely on a behavioral interview since they use your previous behavior to indicate your future performance. In these interviews, employees use standardized methods to mine information relevant to your competency in a particular area or position. Depending upon the responsibilities of the jobs and the working environment, you may be asked to describe a time that requires problem-solving skill, adaptability, leadership, conflict resolution, multitasking, initiative, or stress management. Number 7 is the audition. For some positions, such as computer programs or trainers, companies want to see you in action before they make their decision. For this reason, they might take you through a simulation or brief exercise in order to evaluate you. Number 8, the group interview. The group interview helps the company get a glimpse of how you interact with peers. Are you timid or bossy? Are you attentive or do you speak attention? Do others turn to you instinctively? Or do you compete for authority? The interviewer also wants to feel that your tools of persuasion. Number 9, the follow-up interview. Companies bring candidates back for second and sometimes third or fourth interviews for a number of reasons. Sometimes they just want to confirm that you are the amazing worker they first thought you to be. Sometimes they are having difficulty deciding between a short list of candidates. Number 10 is committee interview. These types of interviews mean meeting a panel of discussion makers at once. This can be daunting and intimidating if you are not well prepared in advance. However, more than one interviewer means efficiency and an opportunity for different opinions of the same answer. And the last is job-related interview. In a job-related interview, the interviewer asks applicants questions about relevant past experiences. It is a series of job-related questions that focus on relevant past job-related behaviors. The question here don't revolve around hypothetical or actual situation or scenarios.
Okay, and the last presenter will explain about preparation for job interview. Will explain with Mas Mukhayin. Okay, times is yours.
Okay, for the next presenter is me, Mukhayin, and here I want to tell you about preparation for job interview. Okay, and in this material, in this point, preparation for job interview, this is developed into 3 points. The first is before the interview or preparation, and the next is during the interview or communication, and the last is after the interview or follow up. Okay, we are going to the first point. This is before the interview or preparation. This is some tips that you must prepare before you do an interview in some company. Before the interview checklist, this is something that must you know. The first is know what you have to offer. Employees who are self-aware and able to communicate clearly about what they have to offer. And the next is understand the position. If you have not been given a position description, request one from the organization. The next is research the organization. Spend time exploring the organization's website and or informational literature. And the next is be aware of your interviewing strength and weakness. Take advantage of the mock interview service through the Center for Career Development, both in person and through online software like interviews. And for first impression method, this is something that must you do. Arrival time. Arrive at your interviewing destination approximately 10 until 15 minutes early. And the next is cell phone. Remember to turn off all electronic devices. The next is professional dress and behavior. For most organizations, typical interview attire includes a well-tailored professional suite. However, it can be helpful to find out what's most appropriate from someone working in the field. And next is firm handshake. Extend a firm handshake to your interviewers. And the next is eye contact. This shows confidence and engage the interviewer. And the next is smile. Be polite to anyone you meet. You want to come across as enthusiastic, friendly, and approachable. And for the next point is during the interview or communication. When entering the interview room, try to be relaxed. So you must enjoy yourself when you entering the interview room. Have a confident smile and make eye contact. When meeting the panel, introduce yourself with a handshake. If the panel is comprised of more than 3 members, then this might not be visible and is not recommended. This is must you do when you entering the interview room or when you do a interview in some company. The first is body language and direct eye contact are key. The next is use example. For example, when you explain your skill, you must explain it use example. I think like that. And the next is be prepared for an interviewer that will try to put you off by their questioning. The next is never badmouth any previous employers. And the next is avoid talking about personal problems. And next is avoid using buzzword or jargon. And the last is ask question at the end. Okay, for the last point is after the interview or follow up. This is some tips that you must do. The first is once you have ended the interview, be sure to send a thank you letter within 24 hours of the interview. Use your best judgment to decide whether the interviewer will prefer to receive a note via email or mail. And the next, secondly, and this is very relevant in case you had not gotten the job, you should contact the company to ask for a personal and detailed feedback of your interview and about your performance. This is very helpful in order to improve for the next interview.
Okay, I think enough for presentation today. We are from 7 Group. Say thank you very much for attention, and when I and my group have any mistakes, please apologize me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.